What's up, everyone? My name's Lisa, for those of you that might not know. So I've been moved to do a message all morning. Okay, temptation. It's the devil. It's codependency. It's addictions, right? Okay, and then we have the Queen of Swords, the Ace of Cups, and the Sun. So this is very just blatantly talking about making a decision to heal addictions, codependency through self-love, right? This is where the healing begins, right? And it's like, can move you to a place of being better or being bitter, okay? I had also been receiving like messages. I got a phone call today, and it was an unexpected phone call. And I ended up talking with this woman on the phone for a while, and just different things happen in my life that just kind of solidify other things that have happened, and then all the pieces come together, right? So as a collective, we're all experiencing massive change. Under growth and development, okay? So those are the words I heard. And yeah. So, but there's a path, right? There's a split in the road. There's always a split in the road with every decision we make. Yeah, look, see, heartache. Here's the Queen of Cups and the Five of Wands. So this is about competition, right? It's competing, but there's also this like there's one like just receiving from the divine, or choosing to be involved with this competition and this chaos and just the anarchy of life. That's what I heard. Okay. So this is the Knight, and then look, the Chariot just wanted to be seen here. Okay. So the Chariot's about, I also heard Cancer season, but the Chariot's about moving forward, right? So there's something here about work, okay, getting clarity. There's the Four of Swords, healing, contemplation. It's taking us to the truth, right? It's unraveling. It's going through to explore our inner darkness, right? And just completely embrace it and love on it and heal from it and allow it to push us to our extremes of growth. Listen, guys. Many people are beginning to wake up. And by what I mean by waking up, I mean there's people beginning to notice that there are other realities happening. There are many shifts happening all over the world, right? A lot of this is happening in dream state. Okay, but it's happening when you're awake too, right? Like when you're walking around and seeing everyday life, you might begin seeing like strange birds, or just noticing unidentified flying objects. Okay, I'll put it like that. Okay, just randomly. Okay, just random freaks of nature, right? King of Cups. Here again is this like Five of Swords. This is just like this conflict, right? There could be something happening within your family dynamic. Some of you may be walking away from family dynamics or situations, or or even jobs, right? Just like switching careers altogether. And this could be due to some sort of off balance, inconsistencies, right? Yeah, see, for a lot of you, this is messages surrounding work, okay? But it's also connected to inner work, and you're not feeling the same in environments where you may have grown up with, right? You may have grown up in, okay? Or you've always done something, right? And it's just all of a sudden like you just no longer feel comfortable doing it, right? Like this could even be coming into like where you've been going to school, like maybe you've always been comfortable in a certain environment or in a certain field of study, and now you're just like, no, I want to do something completely different, and it's off the beaten path, or so it seems or may seem to the people that have known you all your life. But you know what, you're changing, right? Like there's certain things that just aren't sitting with you well anymore. You may also be noticing changes in your diet, or that you can't eat the same way that you used to, okay? Or even like using certain beauty products or creams on your body, right? Or drinking certain things, like even if you, let's say you drink alcohol or you're a drug user, you may notice that things are even more out of control lately. And this is because our minds are under attack, right? The way that we stay in control is by believing that we don't have the power to change our lives and to change the realities that we live, right? And everything starts with our mind. So what we believe is what we bring about. So if we believe that we can't do something, guess what? You're not going to be able to freaking do something, right? So, but again, God gives us free will, right? So we can really choose to do whatever we want to do. I'm hearing ignorance is bliss again. Okay, I got that in another message I received a couple days ago. I have shared a lot of my spiritual path on my YouTube channel, and I don't know where you're watching me now. I have a few different social medias, but if you check out my YouTube channel, there's like over 1,500 videos on there, and I have literally, it's not just tarot card readings. In the tarot card readings, different messages come out where I relate my own life experience to whatever message I'm channeling at the time, okay? Or the way that I've gotten through different barriers of stagnancy in my life, okay? To the outside world, I might seem as if I haven't accomplished much because I don't live in a mansion, I don't drive a fancy car. But the thing that I have that can't be taken away from me is my peace of mind. And I have really fought hard for this. And it started with this, with my twin flame journey, right? And I've shared about my twin flame journey on all throughout those videos and many different times. And, you know, life is weird, man. Nobody has the same story, right? And we're all on this path, I believe, because it's my path. This is what my path is. It's about being a better person. And this is what I feel like is something that is more to be strived for than the material gains. Even though, yes, of course, I want those things, and for a long time, or at different times in my life, I've put it more as a priority because I'm a single mom, and because I have been overwhelmed at different times in my life with where my next meal was going to come from, right? And although I have put so much faith in God, and I know that I have developed a relationship with God that's just continues to deepen over the years and through my difficulties, because I've had a lot. I've struggled with many different aspects of life, and you know um and gotten to the other side, and when many times I've just wanted to die. And I feel like I've always felt, since I started my YouTube channel, like, I don't know, maybe 9, 10 years ago. I don't remember exactly, but I'm meant to share my experience, strength, and my hope, because it's just going to be proof that you can overcome whatever you need to overcome, because I'm living proof of that right now. For in one aspect, it's because I'm sober. I've been sober for 23 years now. July 10th will be 24 years for me. But I've also overcome a lot of sexual trauma, relationships with parents, specifically my mother, and just feeling like trapped in different kinds of relationships, feeling voiceless, and becoming uh, a creator on YouTube, to sharing my experience like this is like, it's a huge deal, coming from someone who felt like this and didn't feel like anybody ever wanted to, or that I had something to offer. But knowing I was meant for more, but being afraid to expose it, and breaking down all those barriers, it's been a lot to overcome. But and I know that I'm not alone in that. I admire so many men and women that I've met who are much younger than me, and they are so much more aware of life than I was at their age. And I first like see this in my own children, and they teach me so much, my children, and they are I don't look at them as like, I'm your authority, I'm the boss, what I say goes. Like, we don't have that kind of relationship at all. I learn a lot from my children, and they learn a lot from me. I call them out, they call me out. They give me different things to reflect upon in my life to help me be a better mother, right, and a better person in general. I've learned boundaries over the years, which was the hardest thing to do with those closest to me, like my immediate family, my mother, my father, my brothers, and then beyond that, it's easy to set boundaries with people, like at work, or different social gatherings I might go to, because those aren't people that I have to deal with on a regular basis. Like, work is work. You go to work, you do your job, everybody's is showing up there for the same reason, and then you go home. It's like, it can be kind to everybody, but everybody at work, like, you don't got to be friends with them, but it doesn't mean that you have to be rude, to anybody, but I know that as I've continued to heal in my life and regain control of my life over the years, which it began with getting sober, right? And, I had a big spiritual experience, right? And I, I was about 3 months into not drinking or using drugs. I thought that I was just going to do this for a bit until my mom like let me come back into the house, right? Well, me being me, I got pregnant, right? And I knew I was going to be a single mom. I knew I couldn't have another baby or I couldn't have another abortion, because I had had several in my drinking career. And I knew that if I had another one, I was going to cross whatever line there was between me and no longer being in touch with reality, So I knew I had to have the baby, but it was literally the worst time I could ever be pregnant. I didn't have a dime to my name. I was living in a halfway house. Nobody in my family was talking to me. And I was incapable of working. So I remember being really pissed off at God and, you know, walking into my halfway house at the time and just falling to my knees and just crying like a baby, like, how could you do this to me? And in that instant, I received this fast forward movie of my whole entire life where God showed me exactly who I was. And I was just uh, like, what the fuck? Like, I was not just this nice girl who drank too much and did too much cocaine. Okay. I was a liar. I was a cheater. I was a manipulator. I was a snake. Right. I was like all these like things that I was like really embarrassed by, that um I wanted to be different. From that moment on, when I got that visual, like I wanted to be different. And I remember standing up and like walking over to this mirror that was on the wall and just looking at myself in the mirror and going, okay, Lisa, you think you're so tough? Let's see how tough you are and let's face yourself. And that's what I started doing. I remember I had been speaking to my dad, but my dad lived in a different state, right? And what he would do was like send me money. And I even told my dad that I needed to not talk to him and I needed him not to send me money because I needed to figure this out. Because I had no idea that I was a manipulator like I had been. And if I could manipulate so many people to get the things that I needed, out of a survival skill, which I later found out, then I couldn't trust myself to not keep doing it, right? I needed to figure out why I was doing those things so that I could change and be a better person. Now, I went through many, many different phases, throughout this journey from that day forward. I also just said, okay, God, I'm all in. If people think I'm crazy, they already think I'm crazy. What do I got to lose? Absolutely fucking nothing. So I stopped getting cars from guys. I stopped getting money from guys. And I just started walking, taking the bus. I got a job, you know. Yeah, I just started doing the thing and going to, these AA meetings, and they suggested to get a sponsor, and I did, and it was really hard for me to connect with people at first, and I had a really hard time my first year of sobriety. I smelled Jack Daniels every single day, and I had the sensation of like the coke drip down my throat every day until a week before I picked up my ear medallion. But I wanted to be better, right? I wanted to be a better person, and that meant I had to do the work. And I was willing. I was willing. I stopped talking to men. I decided I was going to go on this 5-year plan, and go back to school and be a nurse and blah blah blah, and all these things, were set up for that. And I was staying true. And then and then I met a guy. There was this guy, and I learned some more about my ego with that relationship, because he was a guy that men or women, probably men too, but everybody really like wanted, like I've always like gone for that guy, I've always wanted that guy, and so my ego was really involved. I didn't know that at the time, but I never wanted to date him before, but I don't know. Anyway, we went out. We ended up going out, and then going out with him, I did not like. He was not the one for me, right? So 3 weeks later, I'm trying to get rid of him, you know, and I'm going through this whole process. Like he just became obsessive, and he was like, he ended up relapsing, and it was just this horrible thing, right? So um, it was really devastating, and I felt terrible about it. But I also like learned this valuable lesson that my ego was just all about it. You know, like it wasn't so much that I liked him; it was just that I liked that everybody wanted him and he wanted me, right? So ego, our egos are out to kill us, and that is something that has just kept me from doing a lot. Even though I still let my ego uh, get involved, and it can really do a lot of harm in life. And at least it's done a lot of harm in my life. And, you know, so I try to check myself before I end up doing something or